It is time now for the Muletrain News Program on this Thursday, August the 13th, 2020. Brought to you today by the First Bank along with Leal's Mexican Restaurant. Well, we've been contacted by lots of friends of Harold Redwine, and they shared with us a tribute that they want us to share with our listeners here on Channel 6. Harold Redwine, May the 24th, 1945 to July 25th, 2020. On July the 25th, 2020, one of our American heroes passed away. He left behind a multitude of friends and relatives who loved and respected him. It was their desire to commemorate and celebrate his life that he so humbly shared with others. Harold and his twin brother Carol were born on May the 24th, 1945 to J.C. and Nina Redwine of Lasbuddy. He grew up in the farming community and graduated from Lasbuddy High School in 1963. Harold never planned to be a part of the military, but when the Vietnam conflict heightened, he enlisted. At the time, he was pursuing a degree in agronomy from West Texas State in Canyon. He and Carol were on West Texas State's first seed judging team. In 1967, the seed judging team won third in the national competition. He married Charlotte Seaton on August the 17th, 1969. The State Line Tribune wrote the following story on Veterans Day 2013. Harold enlisted in 1969 and trained to be a helicopter pilot in the Army. Around 100 trainees started, and Harold was one of 50 who graduated. He trained to fly all types of helicopters, but specifically, he flew the UH-IH Huey. He received advanced helicopter training at Fort Rucker in Alabama. He also earned a commercial pilot's license. Redwine recalls being scared to death when he first was sent to Vietnam in 1970. His main responsibility was flying helicopter missions to bring supplies, pick up wounded or dead soldiers, and even sometimes pick up prisoners of war. He was proud of the 164th Aviation Group's 7th Squadron Blackhawks 1st Cavalry. He lived in a military camp at Vinh Lang, Vietnam, with 1,000 other military personnel. They lived in huts when not flying and had very little time for anything else besides flying. The camp had a makeshift runway that was made out of metal. Harold said no flight training could have prepared him for flying in Vietnam. When a pilot came in, he would have to put the helicopter's props in reverse just to slow down enough not to overrun the landing zone. We knew how to fly, but we had to learn everything different for Vietnam. On one mission, 4 helicopters were sent to collect troops. The location where they were supposed to land was covered in 3 feet of water, so the helicopters were forced to hover right above the water. They began to have difficulties, so Redwine, who was the command and control on this mission, ordered the helicopters to fly it up. Basically, he told them to take off and get out of the area. As one of the helicopters tried to lift, the tail boom fell off and landed in the water. Several men were killed because they were not strapped in at the time. Redwine said that hovering was one of the hardest things to do in a helicopter, but it was frequently essential to their missions. Redwine said many helicopters crashed while he was stationed in Vietnam. Their missions were sometimes extremely dangerous. He recalls one mission where an enemy shell entered his helicopter and continued right through the machine without harming any crew members. He says that the hull blew up part of the helicopter, but they were able to land. We came in contact with the enemy all the time. During his first year in Vietnam, Harold recorded over 1,250 hours of flight time. One of his many medals that he received in Vietnam came from a troop recovery mission that he flew after already flying for 18 hours straight. During the day, helicopters had dropped 80 troops at a location. As darkness neared, the soldiers got in trouble and needed reinforcements. Since it was already too dark for the Cobra helicopters to help much, recovery helicopters were sent in to retrieve the troops. By following the orange tracers that marked the location, the helicopters were able to find the location in the dark. Redwine was called to replace a pilot who broke down and could not fly the mission. The American troops were being overrun in that area, so 4 helicopters were sent back for the rescue mission. He landed and rested for 15 minutes after flying all night and then began the recovery mission. The mission was successful, and the troops were returned safely to the base without losing any helicopters. Among the medals he received were a Distinguished Flying Cross with bronze oak leaf cluster, 3 bronze stars, and the Vietnam Gallantry Cross. Although Harold did not remember the missions that produced all of the different medals, he said they were awarded when someone went beyond what was expected of them in a mission. Redwine left Vietnam in 1971. However, he stayed on standby status in the Army until 1979, when he was honorably discharged. Harold is adamant that he is not a war hero. He believes everyone who went to Vietnam just did the best they could to survive the experience and take care of their fellow soldiers. He believes that God was important in his military experience. You could tell the difference in those who kept God in their lives. Stateline Tribune story, July of 2012. Harold wrote in an article, God Bless America. The following reflects some of that article. Our young men and women are dying on the battlefields abroad to protect our freedoms, one of which is the right to pray anywhere and everywhere. America has been the envy of every nation in the world. Millions of people on every continent would gladly forfeit everything they own and even risk their own lives to live in America and become an American citizen. America has been the land of opportunity for the whole world. Some people do not feel it is biblical to pray, God bless America. Some are unbelievers and are offended when believers pray in their presence at all. But there does not seem to be much meaning in worshiping God or professing to worship a God so powerful as to create the world, who would then cut himself loose from it and feel no responsibility at all in the management of its affairs. The Bible teaches us that we are to pray for our leaders. America was founded on belief in God and the morals he teaches us in his word. Unashamedly, our forefathers believed that it is impossible to maintain a free, peaceable society without belief in God. But America is rapidly changing. There are efforts to remove references to him in our Pledge of Allegiance, and God we trust, from our money, to prevent prayers in public schools, to remove the 10 Commandments, and furor over state recognition of religious holidays are all a sign of that. It's a matter of historic record that preceding and contributing to the collapse of every fallen nation, there was a failure of that nation's religion. A biblical example is in Judges 2:11-14. The children of Israel, all the generation gathered to their fathers, another generation arose after them who did not know the Lord, nor the work he had done for Israel. In Deuteronomy, God tells us to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Today it seems there is a generation of Americans who do not know God. Let us pray a special prayer for America and her leaders. We need to pray as Paul taught for all that are in authority and the people, that we may live a quiet and peaceable life with all godliness and honesty. We all need to exercise our responsibility, our citizenship, and be active in improving the condition that will restore America to her greatness. Harold believed that success was determined by obedience, servanthood, and faithfulness to God. Recently he was asked if he ever had the desire to fly a helicopter again. He answered, "Yes, I would love to fly for fun. I was always dodging bullets in Vietnam." In March of this year, Vern Eckley, an Army buddy, emailed this letter to Susan, Harold's daughter. This story is a good example of the type of person Harold was. When you are part of an air crew, you cannot hide your mistakes. Everything you do is observed by someone. It does not take long to become aware of a person's faults and abilities. This especially is true in combat. When your life depends on someone else, you quickly develop a sense of their quality. This was certainly true of Harold. It did not take long to develop a sense of trust flying with him. We had many excellent pilots in Apache troop, and Harold was certainly one of them. Sometime in 1970, we were assigned to Firefly mission. A pilot from headquarters was flying this night. I do not remember why your dad was not assigned. This was a nighttime mission where we carried 2 large tubs of large flares strapped to the sides of the aircraft. We were on alert in the event a ground unit needed to illuminate a battlefield. Fairly early in the night, we got a call to scramble. There was a ground unit in contact with an MVA unit when we got to the battlefield. It was a very dark night. There may have been a high overcast or new moon, I don't recall. There was plenty of light On the ground, though, there were tracers going back and forth. The unit of helicopter gunships have arrived and were waiting for us to light up the field. We flew in a circle, dropping flares to provide illuminations. There were tracers coming up at us, but we managed to avoid being hit. We would do this until we expended all of the flares, then return to Vin Lang and refuel and rearm. After several trips, the pilot who was flying called for a replacement. It was to my great relief that Harold replaced him. I was uncomfortable with the first pilot. We made several more trips to the battlefield. Things were heating up. On one of these trips, one of the gunships reported being hit, losing power and going down. As I looked at all the tracers and explosions on the ground, I remember thinking that is not good. There was a lot of chatter and yelling on the radio, and then it got quiet. That is when I heard a calm voice come on and say, "Roger that, Apache 27 will be inbounds to pick you up." I thought, bad for you. If you go down there, you're not coming out. Then I realized that Apache 27 was Harold, and where he went, I went. Harold told me that we would make one circle, drop as many flares as we can, and go in to pick up the downed crew. While I dropped flares, the door gunner was busy dismounting our machine guns and getting ready to fight on the ground. If you went down, you knew someone was inbound to pick you up. Harold once told me that he was scared the entire time he was in Vietnam. Some people think heroism is not being afraid, but heroism is being afraid and still doing what you had to do. One of the strengths of democracies is the citizen soldier. These are the men that stood shoulder to shoulder at Lexington, Gettysburg, Omaha, and all of the battles that shaped our history. Harold was one of these men. I respect and admire Harold, and I am in his debt. After Harold's death, a message from Bill Harrington, an Army buddy, reads, "Harold was a warrior in every sense of the word. His family losses during the years and the battle he fought with cancer for so long would have crushed most of us. He never gave up and always cared about how you were doing. He was a special friend and a soldier that will be missed by all of us." After Harold's death, a message from Kit Carson, an Army buddy. "We lost a good man today. Words cannot describe the trials of life that man had thrown at him and still persevered. A lesser man would have crumbled. I feel honored not only to have served with him, but to have the honor of being considered his friend. Muleshoe, Texas has lost a legend they probably didn't realize that they had. Harold will always be in my heart. On December the 2nd, 1970, he was in Vietnam flying a Huey and received a radio message that his daughter Susan had been born. Harold and his buddies were so excited. They were all experiencing the hazards of war, and the new baby announcement was special news from home. Susan and her husband Jay now have 2 children, a son Christopher and daughter Cassidy Cage. They live in Muleshoe. Susan is a nurse and continues the legacy of Harold, serving others. After Vietnam, he was so thankful to be home with his family. Harold returned to Lasbuddy, worked at the Lasbuddy Co-op, farmed, and eventually purchased his farmland. And then on July 18, 1974, a son Russell was born. Russell was tragically killed in an automobile accident in Lasbuddy in 1988. Unfortunately, his wife Charlotte died in 1993 after a long battle with MS. Harold cared for her with a spirit of kindness and servanthood, just as he had rescued men in Vietnam. He then focused his attention to his farming. In 1994, he received the Palmer County Conservation Farmer of the Year Award. He served on the Lasbuddy School Board, the Lasbuddy Fire Department. In 1994, he married his second wife, Leslie McFarland. He farmed for about 41 years, then retired. Because of his Christian beliefs, he preached to the small congregation at Lasbuddy Church of Christ. The last few years, he battled the dreaded cancer, and then in February of this year, he fell and broke his leg. Healing was complicated with his cancer treatments. After his hospital stay in Lubbock, he was admitted to swing bed at the Friona Hospital. Susan got to spend precious quality time with her dad during this period. When he finally got to return home, he was so appreciative of his older brother, Clyde, who checked on Harold's needs almost daily. Those that visited him would ask how he was doing. He answered, "Not real good, but it could be worse." Then he would want to know about you, your family, and your happenings. He always served his friends and community with a kind heart that loved others. As the community and friends reflect on his life, their comments were, Harold was a sweet, sweet man. He was always welcomed into our place of business. Harold is the kindest man that I've ever met. Harold was gentle, kind, respected Christian. He had a spirit of knowledge and kindness. He always cared about others and wanted to know how you were doing. An endless list of citizens, friends, and acquaintances will forever have Harold's wisdom and kindness etched in their hearts and minds. They will forever be grateful for his service in the Army of the United States of America. We have no doubt that he was welcomed into heaven as a good and faithful servant. If there are helicopters in heaven, he is flying now for fun. And this commemoration was contributed to by Harold's many friends. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and asking us to put it in our Muletrain news. We'll be back with more Muletrain news in just a few moments, so please stay tuned. In an effort to keep up with the latest fraud protection available, First Bank of Muleshoe's My Mobile Money app has been replaced with Secure Lock Equip. Secure Lock Equip is very similar to My Mobile Money, as it is an easy-to-use mobile app that puts the power to protect your debit cards in your hands, and it's available to all participating cardholders. It empowers First Bank's customers to prevent fraud if your card is lost or stolen simply by turning your card off from your phone. Control spending by setting limits on withdrawals or transactions. Customize spending ability of online, mobile, or in-store purchases. Set alert notifications for each time a transaction is made. Block international or out-of-area transactions as well. Download the Secure Lock Equip app from Google Play for Android phones or at the App Store for iPhones. Follow the steps to connect to your First Bank of Muleshoe debit cards. If you need more information or help, you can call the First Bank here in Muleshoe, 806-272-4515. Check them out online, fbmuleshoe.com. The First Bank Secure Lock Equip, available now for Android or iPhones through the Google Play Store or the App Store. The First Bank is member FDIC.
Leal's is the best Mexican food I've ever eaten in my life, and I've been alive for 10 years now. Hi, I'm Isla Reynolds, and I enjoy the phenomenal bean burritos, rice and beans and chips, and seasoning salt. I've been around and eaten lots of Mexican food in 10 years, and Leal's is the best, for sure, with the original being located at 1010 West American Boulevard in Muleshoe, Texas since 1957.
Well, the 81st annual meeting of the Baylor County Electric Cooperative Association will be later this month on Tuesday, August the 25th, and it is for members only and guests that they have invited. Of course, it'll be different in this COVID-19 era, as it is a drive-through meeting for the health and safety of their members and employees. This year's meeting will be at their drive-through in the back. Members will vote, receive attendance gifts, and a box-to-go meal. No one will get out of the car. Simply visit each station and exit after you have received your meal. Gates will open at 4:30 and will close at 7 p.m. there at the back of the Baylor County Electric Cooperative Association office, 610 East American Boulevard. Enter on the south side of the BCEC headquarters behind the office. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact Baylor County Electric at 806-272-4504. And again, it's Tuesday, August 25th, 4:30 until 7 p.m. Well, yesterday on Wednesday, the Muleshoe Independent School District reopened for the 2020-21 school year. So say a prayer for protection over all our administrators, teachers, staff members, and, of course, all of the students, that this will go smoothly. We filmed just tons of things on Monday as the school prepared to open up, and you can find all of those free of charge on demand anytime you want to watch them on our website, front page muleshoetv.com. We did the MISC back-to-school meeting and service awards that were handed out on Monday morning early there at the Carrie Moore Auditorium. As part of those, they gave out 30-year service awards to Sally Messenger, April Smith, and Shelley Turnbow, and then a 35-year service award to Dean Black. If you've taught me and I'm 45 now, which Dean Black did in junior high. You've been there for quite a while. So Dean Black been there 35 years. I think I had him for an English class in maybe 7th grade, and then he also taught me driver's ed at high school. Of course, last week we talked about John Gully. He's been there one more year than Dean Black. He has taught in the Muleshoe schools for 36 years, 40 overall, but 36 of those years at Muleshoe High School. So congratulations to all of them. See all of the service awards and our MISD Back to School staff and meeting and service awards. That's available on the front page of our website. We also did a little interview with all of the MISD new teachers from all 4 campuses. They are Amanda Alvarado, Elizabeth Dixon, Briley Gover, Maria Quintanilla, Vanessa Ramirez, and Jamie Small. They're all the new staff at Dillman Elementary. Lydia Campos, Kimberly Lopez, Juana Mesa, Stephanie Mora, Cheryl McKenzie, Kelly Ramirez, and Micah Seymour, all at Mary DeShazo Elementary. Then at junior high, April Bonrostro, Joshua Huffman, Shannon Mosier, Lydia Regalado, Kimberly Russell, Isabel Simon, Kayla Thomason, Jeanette Walker. Those are all at junior high. Vienna Barone, Daryl Davis, James Hopper, Jackson Lee, Claudia Longoria, Candace Madrid, Christian Mora, Xavier Mora, Christopher Mosier, Angela Richards, Jason Richards, Marisol Robles, Stephen Seymour, and Aaron Simon, all new teachers and staff members at Muleshoe High School. So good luck to them, as a lot of those are starting their very first career in teaching. Be a very surreal and strange year for them, sure. Hopefully it will be the strangest of their careers, but welcome to Muleshoe and welcome to the Muleshoe ISD. The Meet the Mules is set for next week on Tuesday, August the 18th at 7 p.m. at Benny Douglas Stadium. Later this week, on Friday, August the 14th, the Muleshoe Mules will have their first scrimmage. It will be at Dimmitt. The next week, on August the 20th, they will scrimmage here in Muleshoe at Benny Douglas Stadium versus Olton. August the 28th will be their first regular season game at sundown at 7 p.m. Then September the 4th, here in Muleshoe versus Lamesa. September the 11th, here in Muleshoe versus Friona. September the 18th, at Tulia at 7 p.m. Homecoming will be September the 25th versus Seminole. Here in Muleshoe, of course, Snyder they will take on at 7 p.m. at Snyder on October the 2nd. October the 9th at Bushland at 7 p.m. Then October the 16th will be an open week. October the 23rd, here in Muleshoe versus Amarillo River Road at 7 p.m. And then finish up the 2020 football season on October the 30th at Dalhart at 7 p.m. Oh, no, one more game. November the 6th, of course, we'll play Littlefield. That'll be senior night here in Muleshoe at 7 p.m. The new athletic director, football coach is Jason Richards. Offensive coordinator is Chris Mosier. Defensive coordinator is Daryl Davis. And see all those new teachers' interviews on the front page of our website, muleshoetv.com. Also, on Monday evening, we filmed the prayer parade that was put together by lots of parents and community members that drove around the campuses at Dillman, DeShazo, Junior High, and High School in a prayer parade for this coming school year that has just been kicked off. You can see that on the front page of our website. And also on Monday, we filmed the Muleshoe City Council meeting, the regular session meeting for the month of August. That available as well, muleshoetv.com. On Tuesday at noon, the members of the First United Methodist Church handed out goodie bags to all of the staff and teachers and administrators in the Muleshoe schools. They had them drive through the backside of the Kitchen Fellowship Hall area there on the east side through the alley and handed out bags to all the teachers there. And also this week as well, the First Baptist Church delivered meals to each one of the campuses, and that's all being done to not have people gather in large groups in the church. So good job to the First Methodist and First Baptist Church on welcoming our teachers back to our Muleshoe School campuses. We'll be back with more Muletrain news in just a few moments, so please stay tuned. Since 1925, AIM Bank is proud to be one of the largest locally owned and operated banks in West Texas. Our expert bankers have an in-depth understanding of the local economy, and we are proud to provide our customers with quick local loan decisions. At AIM Bank, we know that strong local partnerships are crucial for growth and success. Investing in you has been our focus from day one. We provide the latest in technology for your online and mobile banking with features like mobile check deposit. At AIM Bank, we care about your accounts as much as you do, so we pride ourselves on real personal attention because we are also your neighbor. We invite you to come in and experience the real personal attention AIM Bank has to offer. We want to know you because we live, work, and raise our families right here in Muleshoe too. AIM Bank is committed to making a difference in the communities we serve. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hello, I'm Keith Coby with the Muleshoe Family Medicine Clinic. As we continue in this pandemic, your health is our utmost concern. We continue to work diligently to make the Muleshoe Family Medicine Clinic a safe place for you and your family. Most importantly, during this time, it is essential to keep up with your routine exams so we can help you address your medical problems before they get out of control. As always, please continue to practice CDC guidelines by wearing a mask in public areas and while visiting us. Please remember to stay 6 feet apart and wash or sanitize your hands frequently. Call the Muleshoe Family Medicine Clinic so we can help you living a healthy life.
That's 806-272-7531. Well, we hate that we didn't do the first day of school interviews, but we just couldn't do it this year because of Mom's health. And we hope that we'll get back to doing those next school year. But look for that next year, hopefully. Mom donated money to the Dewey Moore family, to the Lions Club. And we got a very nice card back from them. We thought we'd share you what the family said. Thank you so much for the donation to the Lions Club. They do so much for the children of Muleshoe. Last year, they provided 18 pairs of glasses for students that needed them. So that's a great service, getting kids glasses that need them in our local schools. The Baylor County Senior Center at Main and Avenue D continues to serve indoors, also in their drive-thru in the back there on the east side, and also delivering meals to people in the Muleshoe area as well. And they desperately need volunteers. If you can help out, please call 806-272-4969. Even if it's just one day a week, that would be extremely helpful at the Senior Center. Tomorrow on Friday, August 14th, they'll be serving fish or chicken strips, borracho beans, green peas, tossed vegetable salad. On Monday, August 17th, Salisbury steak with mushroom sauce. Tuesday, August 18th, baked chicken breast, baked potato with sour cream. August 19th, chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, and country gravy. Thursday, August 20th, chicken fajitas, refried beans, white rice, tossed vegetable salad. And then next Friday, August 21st, same thing, fish or chicken strips, borracho beans, green peas, tossed vegetable salad. Well, we're so sad that our dear, dear friends, David and Liz Tips, are moving from Muleshoe as they have recently finalized the sale of Hereford Feed Ingredients, and they're closing down their office there on Main Street in Muleshoe. They'll be here transitioning out over the next month, but it will be a great, great loss to us personally, as they're great friends of ours, but Muleshoe is going to miss them even morely. They've been so philanthropic and so giving, so kind and wonderful citizens of Muleshoe, and we'll have much more on David and Liz in the near future, but we hate that you're moving, but we're so happy for them. They have a house in McKinney that they're moving to, and David Tips over the next several months into next year will be helping transition with the company Lawaz that purchased Hereford Feed Ingredients, help making that transition possible, and we'll have more on David and Liz Tips in the near future, so look for MuleshoeTV.com. We'll have something up later. Also, we're sad to say that Tattered Tumbleweed here in Muleshoe has closed. They've been longtime sponsors and good friends of ours as well. Gina and Ronnie Wilkerson, and also the owners, Colby and Brittany Wilkerson, and they are all moving to the Dallas area as well, so good luck to them, and we will miss Tattered Tumbleweed being here in Muleshoe. More about them as well in the near future. Well, the Bailey County Muleshoe Emergency Management Group has last update we had from them on our COVID-19 cases here in Bailey County are there 29 actives, so that's fallen quite a bit. Recovered 179 positives, tested 213 here in Bailey County, along with 5 tragic deaths due to the COVID-19. We do understand they will issue some new numbers today sometime on Thursday, so look for that. We'll share that on our Facebook pages and our Twitter feed. Again, as of Monday here for Bailey County COVID-19, we have 29 active cases here in the Muleshoe, Bailey County area. Earlier in the week, I did speak with 2 Muleshoe residents who are recuperating from COVID-19, both of them in their 60s, and both of them spent time in the hospital. One did 10 days in Covenant, trying to shake off the COVID, suffered with quite a bout of pneumonia, and it was a really scary experience. The other one, for nearly a month, had a fever that got up to 105 degrees at one point and had to be admitted into our local hospital to break it, and that is very, very scary. Lots of hallucination and sleepless nights when you have a fever for that long, so be vigilant. Know that COVID-19 is here in the Muleshoe area, and the Texas Health Department, along with the CDC, recommends that you wash your hands with soap and water to prevent COVID-19. Do it vigilantly several times a day for at least 20 seconds. Wear a face covering when in public and not able to social distance at least 6 feet. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Avoid touching your face. Disinfect often touched surfaces. Practice social distancing, say at least 6 feet apart from other people. They also ask that you stay out of large gatherings of people. And some of the symptoms of COVID-19, according to the Texas Health Department, is fever. If you have a fever over 99, 100, please stay in your home and do not go out and spread around what you may have, and get tested. Cough, shortness of breath, chills, fatigue, muscle or body aches is another symptom of COVID-19. Headache, loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, or diarrhea. Those are some of the symptoms of COVID-19. We have some good tips about COVID-19 on our screen now in today's Muletrain, or you can see them on the front page of our website, muleshoetv.com. Be vigilant as COVID-19 is out there, and again, they will issue some new updated numbers for Bailey County from the Muleshoe Bailey County Emergency Management sometime today on Thursday. But as of Monday, there were 29 active cases here in Muleshoe. On your prayer list today, please remember all those suffering with COVID-19. Also remember Bonnie Carpenter, Clinton Rogers, Terry Byers, Berta Combs, Joe and Leela Copley, Charles Mayhew, Donald and Joe Phelps, Missy Spratlin, Betty Ruth Wood, Sandy Noble, Junior Davenport, Kelvin Johnson, Mr. and Mrs. Bill Johnson. Remember on your prayer list today, Debbie Lovelady, Vicki Birch, Margaret Berman, Robert Montgomery, Rhonda and Leela Sue King, Virgie Hartline, Janetta Precure, Matthew Alicon, Robert Montgomery, Stanley Wilson, Jacob of Levis, Jamela Clemens, Janetta Precure, Jeremy Combs, Lisa Oftenkamp, Randy Norman, George and Diane Neiman, Richard Cunningham needs to be on your prayer list today. Remember all those that are Mary Nell Bleeker, Margaret Berman needs to be on your prayer list today. Becky Hawksbergen and Maureen Hooten, all the residents of our Parkview Nursing Care Center. Sally Ellis, remember Barbara Blackman, Betty Noble, Patty Kent, J.W. Harrington, Tanya Crawford, Marshall and Ann Head, Kearney Scoggin, Buck and Lynn Campbell, Wynn Cantwell, Marjorie Morgan, Tom and Rhonda Carter, Gladys Black, Luke Siegel of Lubbock, Walter Murray Boness. Keep all those leaders here in our local area, state, and our country, all our pastors and church boards and deacons, as they wrestle with these tough times. Remember our senior center, the director, Carolyn Johnson, and all of our staff and board. Remember our school, R.L. Richards, the superintendent, Dana Heathington, the assistant superintendent, and all of their staff, students, and teachers. Our city, Mayor Cliff Black and City Manager Ramon Sanchez, our county leaders. Remember Jackie Claiborne, our county attorney, our county judge Sherry Harrison, all the county commissioners, our Governor Abbott, President Trump, all of our local business owners and all of their employees. Remember our hospital, Dennis Fleenor, the administrator at our Muleshoe Area Medical Center. Remember all of our nursing home employees and staff and residents. Chris Antion, the administrator there at the Parkview Nursing Care Center. They do have up some new rules on nursing homes and visitation at nursing homes in the state of Texas. We tweeted out all those rules last week. At the end of last week, you can see it in our Twitter feed, bottom left corner of our website, muleshoetv.com. And hopefully that will ease some of the suffering as these residents in our nursing homes have been cut off from the outside world for quite some time. On your prayer list today, remember these families. Well, it's just about time for us to go on this edition of the Muletrain News, brought to you today by the First Bank along with Leal's Mexican Restaurant. You can hear our Muletrain News programs free of charge, on demand, anytime you want to listen to them. Go to our website, muleshoetv.com, and click on the Muletrain News link at the top center of the page.
I'm Tumbleweed Smith, exploring Texas underground. Details in a moment on The Sound of Texas.
The Sound of Texas is brought to you here on MuleshoeTV.com by Bailey County Electric Cooperative Association, with offices in Muleshoe at 610 East American Boulevard, as well as in Morton at 1744 State Highway 114. They're celebrating rural electrification right here in the Muleshoe area through Bailey County Electric since 1939. They are owned by the members that they serve. Call 806-272-4504. Check them out online at BCECOOP.com. The board of directors, the members, the employees, the manager, CEO David Markle, all hope you enjoy this Sound of Texas with Tumbleweed Smith.
Bill Bentley of Midland has been exploring caves 40 years.
I went with some friends back in May of 1980 into some caves near Carlsbad. While we were caving there that weekend, I got bit by the cave bug.
Where have you been caving?
Mostly Texas and southeastern New Mexico. I have done some in Missouri and Arkansas and some in Kentucky, a little bit in some of the other states.
What have you found underground?
Well, we've seen some awful pretty places and places you wouldn't believe. What's especially nice is when you find what's called Virgin Passage, when you're the first eyes to ever view it. You know, no other human has ever seen that passage until you've explored and find it. It's really something. You can find a new cave like that.
Bill is a member of a caving group and says you can go just a couple of 100 miles from Midland in any direction and find lots of caves.
New Mexico and the Lincoln National Forest has some of the deep, really what I call world-class caves. They're highly decorated, extremely deep. You have to have ropes to get in and out.
What's the deepest cave you've been in?
Well, I've been to a place in Carlsbad Caverns called Lake of the Clouds, and that's the lowest point in Carlsbad Caverns, like 1,100 feet. The rocks come down and are rounded, look like clouds, and there's water all down below. It's just a beautiful area.
Any new caves?
Caves are being found all the time. I've found 2 or 3 in my 40 years. Down in Terrell County, we found a cave called Troll Cave. At the time, it turned out to be the 11th deepest in the state. We explored it, and then one that's never been fully explored we found a month later in 1981 called the Wizard's Well. I was in one of the last trips in there before the landowner shut it down, and I think we were in there in like 28, 30 hours nonstop, just constant going.
Do you think you've been to all the caves in Texas?
Oh, heck no. There's something like 20,000 some odd caves. No way. I'd like to. You could spend a lifetime doing it.
Bill Bentley of Midland. Some of his cave photos have won national awards. I'm Tumbleweed Smith with The Sound of Texas.